Denise, Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, Denise, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. What's up there, everyone? It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome to the channel. I am here to talk NXT 2.0, the December 14th edition. We had a pretty decent show, I would say. I didn't think the show was bad. It kind of felt like a very mellow, very relaxed show. We got some good stuff. We got some random stuff. We'll break it all down here today. But before we get started, I do want to welcome each and every single person on the stream, whether you're watching live or whether you watched a replay of this or are listening to the audio version of this. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in all the time. I really appreciate it. Additionally, before I get started, I do want to remind you guys all that this is a very interactive show, so please do not be shy. Feel free to take part in the chat. I will be reading people's comments. Additionally, if you would like to send in a super chat at any point throughout the show, please send them in. They help me out a whole lot. F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of all proceeds from super chats, so I, for one, very much appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and get started and get into the show because we do got kind of a lot to talk about. But first and foremost, we're going to kick things off with our first super chat of the day. And this is an awesome super chat from Heidi Ho 77. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho, who says, quote, "I just want to say I agree with Mickey. It's been great watching you grow. I learned about you on your first Quizlemania and followed you some. You've become my favorite YouTuber. Keep being awesome, Denise." Thank you so much, Heidi Ho. So for those of you who do not know what Heidi is talking about, so I recently did an interview with Mickie James. It was my second interview that I've done with her. I interviewed her back in 2019, and then I interviewed her again last week, but I put the interview up this week. And she literally, at the end of our show, like, said some really nice things to me. And I just had this moment where I was like inside my head, and I didn't say this at that time, but I was thinking it. And inside my head, I was thinking like, oh my God, Mickie James, like I've, idolized her for such a long time, and Mickie James is putting you over. It's one of those moments where you like kind of step out of your body and you're like, this is happening, relax. And so it was really cool to kind of like have that experience and just to know that people like Mickie James notice things that, are going on. So anyways, thank you so much for pointing that out. You guys could watch that interview. It's up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. That interview with Mickie James is up there where you guys can check it out. I also want to give a shout out to the Cooge 97, whose birthday it is today. So happy birthday to the Cooge 97. Thank you so much for always coming into these shows, showing me lots of love. I see you, man. Happy birthday. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I hope all your dreams come true. And let's go ahead and get this show started though, guys. So we got quite a bit to talk about here. Here's the thing. So like NXT is one of those interesting shows. It's interesting because it really is that show where here's the big difference. Like I feel a lot of people, people will only tune in to NXT 2.0 if something big is promoted. Like NXT 2.0, I don't think necessarily, it doesn't feel like they have that consistent following that tunes in to all of the shows. I feel like depending on what they actually promote on the show is whether or not people are going to tune in to talk about NXT. And a perfect example of that was last week. We had Johnny Gargano essentially saying his goodbyes, and we had like a banger of like a show, and a lot of people were interested on social media. And then this week it like completely dipped, and you can see that people aren't really talking that much about NXT 2.0. So it's just one of those things where like they really, really have to work at building up this audience once again for NXT 2.0, because we've talked about this so many times, but so many of the older viewers no longer are watching NXT because this is a polar opposite direction of what they like. So in terms of like the week to week shows as somebody that now has been watching NXT 2.0 religiously since it premiered, because I have to cover it for my job. I will say there are certain weeks that are good. There are certain weeks that are like meh. And then there are certain weeks where I'm like, my God, what is going on? This was a pretty decent week. Like, I didn't think it was one of those ones where I'm like, my God, what is going on? It was okay, to say the least. Okay. We got a super chat from Darth Stevens 777 who says, everything Mickey said is true. Much love, Denise. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Like, so much. Thank you very, very much. And let's see what we got here. Let's get some comments in here. This is from Zeno Hour, who says, tonight the first hour was mostly meh. Second hour was much better. Well, let's talk about what went down. So the show opened up with Grayson Waller telling he comes out of his car. As you all know, he was the one who got the shining moment. He was the one, the chosen one, to come out and attack Johnny Gargano last week. And today we saw Grayson Waller maybe 4 different times on the show today, whether he was out in the ring, cutting a promo, or whether he was backstage getting yelled at by all the women. And we saw him throughout the night. Now, I'm gonna say it, guys. I freaking told you all. I told everybody on this show the past couple of weeks. I told you Grayson Waller has something. Grayson Waller has it. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know, but somebody in NXT 2.0 definitely agrees with me, because they are pushing now Grayson Waller, and he was one of the guys that was most featured on today's show. And in terms of how he started, they didn't really have a character for him. They kind of didn't really give him a personality. Like, the reason he got over, in my opinion, was because I liked the in-ring work that he was doing. And you saw shades of his personality a little bit here and there. But now he finally has a full-fledged character. He's coming out here, he's cutting promos. He's having all of these moments. And he is doing a phenomenal job. I think everything that Grayson Waller did on tonight's show was good, because he is being good at making people hate him. People do not like Grayson Waller, and so he is doing his job. But he doesn't, to me, in my opinion, he doesn't have that go away. He has this guy's a douche, this guy's a cocky son of a gun, and that is who he is. So I do think that I want to give a shout out definitely to what they've been doing with Grayson Waller, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in just a second. But he did kick off the show essentially coming out with his cell phone, and he's being booed by the fans outside of the CWC. And so I kind of thought that was funny, but we'll talk more about Grayson Waller in just a second. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho, who says, let's just make this Denise appreciation show. She's a national treasure. Thank you. I feel awkward reading nice comments about myself, but I really appreciate it, man. I really, really thank you. 554K sends in another really nice super chat saying, you deserve all the kind words. I have not seen the interview you did with Mickie James yet, but I will watch it. Dude, yeah, seriously, check it out. Also, Mickie James is very conversational. I can ask her one question and it'll lead into this entire conversation, and we kind of bounce off of each other there. So it was really cool to go to pick her brain. I only had 25 minutes with her, but even then, I feel we got a lot out of those 25 minutes. So thank you so much to 554K for sending in that super chat. All right, so here we go. Let's get into the opening match. So we had Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson in a no holds barred match. And I'm not this match here. Okay, let me just say the best way to summarize this match was I had no interest in it going into it. I was not invested in the match during the match whatsoever, but that finish was freaking awesome. I enjoyed the finish to this match. So here's the thing, I just haven't been able to get into this storyline whatsoever. They started off with all of those poker vignettes. I wasn't interested. We had that really, really boring poker segment that nearly killed me. I almost retired that day. I was like, man, I was thinking of all these ways to get out of covering the show for that day. I'm joking, by the way. But it was just to the point where I did not care about that poker segment. Okay, great. They have this match at War Games, whatever. Duke Hudson gets shaved bald. All right, whatever. He comes out. He tries to do the Kurt Angle thing with the headpiece and the wig. It does not come off nearly as funny as when Kurt Angle did it. So that was a miss. So then we come into this match, this no holds barred match. And I'm thinking, well, do I even really want to see it? I really don't. But anyway, so the match itself there had some good moments. Like right away, they started off with like all the weapons and incorporating that into the match. We saw a really nice moonsault from Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes is a phenomenal, he's a good wrestler. He's an entertaining wrestler, has personality. We all know that. And he has some good moments in the ring. There was an awkward like hurricanrana on the outside of the ring. I think they were too close to the plexiglass. So it just kind of looked off, like there wasn't enough space to execute that move or whatever. It just didn't look that great. But in a weird way, it kind of worked for me. Like I popped because it didn't look that great, which kind of had like the opposite effect, whatever. So, after this, we had a nice spot where Hudson essentially power bombs Cameron Grimes onto the poker table. That was cool. He gets the razor out and he seems like he's going to shave Cameron Grimes' head, but he doesn't get to do it. We see a really awesome poison Rana from Cameron Grimes. I freaking loved his poison Rana. Thought it was phenomenal. And then right after that, he follows it with a double stomp to the face for the finish. So some decent moments in this match, very few decent moments, but a good finish though. So I will say that good finish. I just can't get interested. Like I haven't been really like invested in what they've been doing with Cameron Grimes, because even when he was doing all of this stuff with LA Knight and the $1 Million Championship, even that was kind of like hard for me to like really get into. Like I liked a lot of like the story elements that they did for it. I wasn't necessarily all that crazy about the matches until like their final match, because I think they had like 3 matches between him and LA Knight, and I think it was the final one where I was like really sold on it. But other than that, like I feel like Cameron Grimes is sort of like, swimming and trying to find something right now to grab a hold onto that actually works. And right now, this whole storyline with Duke Hudson, in my opinion, is not necessarily working. Like I don't feel it's getting over. It's just not doing what I think they want it to do. So send in your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you feel polar opposite of this? How did you feel about this opening match? Go ahead and send in some thoughts here. We got people here saying, let's see. This one's from Pile Driver Finisher, who says, I like the backstage poker segment that took a few breaks for the show, but let's end things, damn it. Yeah, I wasn't into it, guys. I wasn't into it. We got a comment from Zeno Hour, who says, it would be wise to position Grimes as a new Johnny Gargano. He's super over. Also, I think they make Hudson's character a worldly bespoke man rather than a poker player heel. Yeah, the worldly bespoke man, if that's what you want to call it, it's not working. Like for me, it's coming off as very, very bland and very, very generic. Like I need a little bit more sizzle to get invested into a character. So I do think that the Duke Hudson character for me has not been working like from the very beginning to this point. Like there hasn't been anything for me to say, oh man, I'm into it, I'm digging it. It just hasn't been clicked. It hasn't clicked for me like at all. Like he's fine, like he's okay, like in the ring and all that, but the character itself, it is just so generic, very, very generic. Let's go ahead and jump into this. This is a comment from Donzel, who says, I'm not really invested in the story either. Yep. Alvin Jones says, didn't see the show, just here for the review. Well, thank God. That's the thing too, guys. Like it has been like talking when I used to do podcasts about the NXT, the black and gold NXT. It was like there was so much interest in the show, and damn, like the decrease in like the people's interest in NXT 2.0 has been like a serious bummer, man, a serious bummer. But let's jump in and talk about Cora Jade. So Cora Jade has a quick promo interview, with Mackenzie Mitchell. And this is going to be interesting because I think I saw a couple of people that did not like what was said during this interview, because Dakota Kai comes out and basically warns Cora Jade. She tells her, Raquel is just using you. She is using you. She's just gonna, use you and essentially reap the rewards and this and that. So she's warning Cora Jade. And then Cora Jade looks at her and she's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, mom. So she calls her mom. And I saw like a couple of people on Twitter say they felt that that line was like ageist or I don't know what. I didn't see it that way, but I knew it was going to be taken that way. Like I didn't see it that way just because you tell people whenever someone's trying to like give you advice, whenever someone's trying to give you their 2 cents, their opinions on your life and your decisions, you'll be like, okay, mom, whatever. So I didn't see it like that, but I did see some people that did not like this line. I actually liked everything that they did in this interview because why shouldn't Dakota Kai go out and try and warn Cora Jade? If she believes that Raquel used her, did her dirty, they became champions, and in Dakota's mind, Raquel was the one that betrayed her, Raquel was the one that used her. That is what's going on in Dakota's mind. So why wouldn't she try to warn Cora Jade when her reality in her head is that Raquel is the one to blame? So personally, I loved everything that they did during this backstage interview. I thought it made sense. And we'll talk about this more as we continue on since Dakota and Cora do have their match. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But we do got a super chat from 554K who says, oh, I know this is random and off topic, but I love your intro music to all your reviews, post shows. It's very catchy. I have a couple people now, BTW, that will go up to me and they'll be like, it's Denise. And I'm like, oh no, I did not think that was going to happen. Like in my real life now, people go up to me and say, it's Denise. And I'm like, shit. I didn't expect that to happen. So now it's a little bit awkward now. It's a little bit awkward. But thank you so much for the kind super chat. And Mike says that she called Mandy grandma on Twitter the other day. Like, okay, I can see it. If I'm telling my sister is literally 16 years old, okay? And when I give her like my life advice, when I try to talk some wisdom into my sister, she like shuts me out. She's like, no, like I don't need your advice. You're not my mom. She'll give me that kind of attitude. So because of that, like for me, I didn't see an issue with what Cora Jade responded with because I know that like teenage girls will react like, well, she's not a teenager, so let me correct that. Young girls in general will probably react that way. Anyways, there's been moments where like I've had like situations where like, you know, my older friends that are guys will say something and I'll be like, okay, yeah, dad, sure, whatever. Like as a joke, you know, so it's a joke. Sam Fine says, that's funny. I always say it's Denise as I enter the chat. Jesus. Man, I didn't think about that was going to happen to me. We got a comment that I wanted to read from Scoocher Boy who says, it was raining out and my friend told his girlfriend to wear a coat. She replied, yes, dad. He replies, I was last night. True story. I appreciate you sharing the story. I appreciate it. And Heidi Ho says Cora is 20 years old. She should be using that in her promos. I'm 44 and guys at work call me Papa. It happens, guys. It happens. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for the very kind comment, by the way. All right, let's jump into this Grayson Waller stuff here because I kind of put him over at the top of the show, but let's talk a little bit about what he did here tonight. So we've been seeing the progression of Grayson Waller as a heel. We talked a little bit about his progression in NXT 2.0. And now the big heel moment was obviously last week when he attacked Johnny Gargano when he was having this, you know, his farewell. He's talking about being a father. He's saying his goodbyes. He's going on to the next chapter, having this very, very heartfelt promo, and Grayson Waller attacks him from behind with a chair. What a douche. So he comes in and he basically says that, he uses Johnny Gargano's words in this promo. So if you guys remember, Johnny Gargano last week mentioned that if you bet on yourself, I don't know, he gave like some very, I forgot what it was verbatim, but he basically says like, if you bet on yourself, blah, 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 right? It was this very nice, shit. And I even tweeted it out and I forgot it, but it was a very nice saying that he said. Okay. And Grayson Waller used that in his promo by basically saying that he went virtual and everybody was talking about him because of what he did to Johnny Gargano. And he said, yeah, because I bet on myself. So it was kind of like a little thing that I really liked that he incorporated into this. But I think what really worked in his promo and why I think what Grayson Waller is doing is working, it's because it's not just the words he's saying, it's the way that he dresses, it's the way that he carries himself. He's an ass. He's a total ass on NXT 2.0, and it's working. He basically showed some like tweets of people, calling him out and talking shit to him and all of that good stuff. So he's showing them on the screen. So here's the funny part, guys. And I don't know if this was like dumb of me or whatever, but I thought to myself, did people really tweet that? Or did WWE just like make up these tweets, right? I really wasn't sure if these were like fake tweets, like if these were like real responses from people. So I went and I checked like one person's Twitter account. I'm like, let me check if this is a real Twitter account. So I checked. I think it was one of the girls that they had on there. And I found her Twitter account. So it was legitimate tweets that they had. And I kind of thought that it was hilarious because in my mind, I thought WWE just made up those tweets. I didn't really think that they were real tweets. So I can confirm that apparently they are indeed real tweets in case anybody here had any doubts in their mind. He calls out Vic Joseph and basically says he didn't do anything. And, he's out here being friends with Johnny Gargano. And yet he didn't do anything to help out Johnny Gargano. I like that touch. Grayson Waller is carrying himself like a heel. I enjoyed it. I thought what they were doing with him today was pretty good. So I got to give him 2 thumbs up on that one. 2 thumbs up. Let's see what we got here. Yaru says I wouldn't put it past WWE to manufacture tweets. Exactly. That's why I went and checked. I had enough time to like type in the person's username. And I was like, is this a real account? Because I was going to laugh so hard. Like, that's why I checked. I wanted to know if these were real tweets or not. I would expect them to probably put some fake ones out there. Like, I was expecting that. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into Lashing Out with Lash Legend. I could still not say that damn show name with her name. It really trips me out. I'm surprised that they brought this back. We hadn't seen it in a while. I thought that they were like scrapping it because we hadn't seen it. They weren't doing it. I don't mind Lashing Out with Lash Legend. Like for the most part, it's okay. It's like tolerable. We've had worse. I've been enjoying some of the segments that we've been seeing. This one was like they're really cheesy, they're really corny, and this one was probably the cheesiest and the corniest of all. So she had jacket time on, and freaking Ike Manjiro and Kushida, and I just really hate what they're doing with jacket time. I've talked about this on past shows, but I do not like this like stereotypical types of characters. I don't like them. They're making them seem like they're dumb, and they're not dumb. We know that, but they're making them seem like they're dumb. And so like personally, I don't like those types of characters. I don't like when they do like those like stereotypical types of characters for like anybody of any background. So that's kind of what we've been getting with Jacket Time, and we continue to get that even so during this entire talk show. So they're on the talk show. They're promoting Style Strong. Lash Legends asked them about their fashion game. They promote Style Strong. That's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. They're funny. They do their job well, but it feels very, very stereotypical. And let's see what we got here. This one is from Power Driver Finisher, who says it's super forced. Yeah. Donzel says they turned 2 good wrestlers into jokes. And we'll talk about their match in a second because they did have a pretty decent match. Yes, sir, says sounds like a bore fest. I hate that. I hate when they don't give me enough to like say like, oh man, this went down. Oh, this was freaking awesome. This person said that. This person said this. I'm like, nah, bro. They just came out, promoted their freaking Style Strong, Style Strong and their match. Cool. Moving on. Not much to add there. bums me out. Zeno Hour says Jack and Time could be a good team, but they've presented them in such a racially insensitive way. Unfortunately, yeah, that's how I felt. That's how I felt for a while. Amari Miller versus Ivy Nile. Let's get into this because I'll just start off by saying this. I thought this was going to be a lot worse than it turned out to be. This wasn't bad, okay? This wasn't horrible. We've seen a lot worse. This was passable, okay, D+, great, passing grade. Ivy Nile, she's had now, let me see, I wrote this down 1 second, guys. Ivy Nile has now had, she's on a 3-match winning streak. So she's defeated Valentina Feroz, Yulisa Leon, and now Amari Miller. So out of all those matches that we've seen of hers on NXT, this was by far the best match that we've seen of her. So what I do like about her is that she has a great look, okay? That's settled. She looks phenomenal. She is still super, super, super green in the ring, right? But I do like that they are sort of trying to hide a little bit of that in her matches. And you notice that they are, focusing on what she's good at and what is impressive of her. And this was the best execution that we've seen of that so far. She went out there and she was doing, there was a moment where she literally had her legs and she was choking out Amari Miller with her thighs. And at the exact same time, she was doing she was exercising on the turnbuckle. So that looked pretty impressive. And then she was doing push-ups on Amari Miller's back. That was, pretty impressive, I guess you can say. If that's impressive to you, it kind of was to me. So I like that. She had a nice suplex too. So I will put that over as well. And so on the side of Ivy Nile, those were the things that I liked that we saw from her. But I do want to take a second to put over Amari Miller in this because unfortunately, Amari Miller has sort of been in this position where, believe it or not, we've seen Amari Miller before on NXT. I've talked about her matches, and for some reason, I keep forgetting who she is, and I keep forgetting about her, and I keep forgetting what the hell it was she even did on NXT. She has been a very forgettable person, right? So with all of that being said, this was the first time where I thought to myself, where I was watching this match, and she actually captured my attention as a viewer. She finally made me look twice because she was more comfortable in the ring. We've only seen 4 matches of her on NXT. So she's wrestled, she was in a tag match. And then she wrestled singles matches with Kaylee Ray, Gigi Dolan, and Mercedes Martinez, which was the first match that she had on NXT was with Mercedes Martinez. And I can tell you that I don't remember any of those matches at all. And I talked about them, and I don't even remember them. This was the first time where I kind of thought to myself, damn, this Amari Miller girl, she's got something. She came in here, like I said, she was more comfortable. She showed a little bit more personality, just a little bit more presence. Like she was there, like presence. And so I liked that. And I thought she helped maneuver Ivy Nile throughout this match. I liked that. It was good. This was so much better than I had originally anticipated that it would be. So there you go. Fine, decent, cool. We got a super chat from Heidi Ho 77 who says, Ivy needs to be in the ring with more experienced women. 2 green talents always look kind of sloppy. Thank you so much for pointing that out because that's what I needed to get at as well. That's one of the points that I was told myself that I wanted to bring up during the show. Ivy Nile is not going to it doesn't, for me right now, she's not necessarily getting over by having these matches that she's been having so far with the competitors that she's been having so far. And I get it. She's super green. She ain't going to be taking out people like Raquel Gonzalez. That ain't going to be happening right now. I get it. But I still think that she needs to start getting wins over girls that are more, just a little bit more above the level of your Yulisa Leons and your Amaris and your Valentinas, just a little bit of a level above that. For example, if she defeated Saray, okay, good. I can probably see that. Cool. They just need to keep building her up. Granted, she's super green, so I don't really know. But I do think in order for people to take her more seriously, she's got to get some important quality wins. And as of so far, this was the most quality win that she's gotten. So there you go. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho 77 for the kind super chat there. And all right, guys, let's go ahead and jump. Thank you. I also wanted to point this out too. This is a comment from Ron, and she did wrestle BTW. She did wrestle Lash Legend on Friday on 205 Live. I wrote that down and I forgot to read it. She's done a couple of appearances on 205 Live as well, BTW. Thank you so much to Ron for pointing that out. Alrighty, so here we go. Oh, thank you, by the way. Devin says, oh, yeah, Saray, remember when she was supposed to be a big deal? Someone says, didn't she go back to Japan? Did she? I don't even know, man. Damn. I have no idea at this point. Legitimately. Haven't I read anything about that? Probably missed it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this Matt Riddle MSK stuff. The Shaman, Matt Riddle, was revealed last week, and all of us had egg on our face, at least for those of us that did not expect for it to be Matt Riddle. I was one of them. I wasn't one of the smart fans that guessed Matt Riddle. Nope, I did not. I thought they were going an entirely different direction. Okay, so Matt Riddle is back. Good. I said last week that they need to do more to make sure that these like shaman skits that they do on NXT, that they're consistent, because I was expecting for them to bring it up one time, have the big reveal, and then for us to never see Matt Riddle or hear of the shaman ever again. Like, that's what I was realistically expecting from this whole storyline. But no, I was wrong. And thankfully, they listened and we got more vignettes with MSK and Matt Riddle. And tonight, basically the gist of all of what they're doing with MSK is they're teasing you. The entire time they are teasing you that at some point they are going to like show weed or do weed, or I don't even know how to explain it, but everything is a tease of weed. So if you watch these skits, you will get what I mean, okay? Like, that's like the big thing. It's the big elephant in the room of these vignettes is weed. So they have a bag and they start pulling things out of this bag. They pull out scissors, they pull out glasses, they pull out batteries, earbuds, a bat, a yellow cone, John Cena, the little spinny belt, a WWE microphone, and then Matt Riddle tells them, like, all of this stuff that you guys have, it's cluttering up your minds. And then MSK's like, well, how do we unclutter our minds? Like, how do we relax our minds? And so everybody's thinking like, okay, weed, bro, weed. How do they clear their minds? How do they declutter their minds? Weed. All right. So then Matt Riddle tells them, like, go back in the bag, dig a little deeper. And they pull out 3 scooters. So now they all got scooters. So this whole entire time, they're teasing the weed stuff. We ain't going to see weed, but they're pulling it out there. Jesus. Let's see. Okay, so no, I'm not ready. I was going to share a story about a really embarrassing story that happened to me at GCW of all places, but I do not want to talk about it on the air. I am not ready for it. I do not do weed, FYI, BTW. I don't care if other people do, but I do not. I am a square. I'm the most square person you will ever meet, okay? So never mind. Let's see where we're at, guys. Let's see. Let's get some thoughts in here. I'm just going to ignore all those other thoughts here. Let's get some funny ones, some good ones, everybody. This is okay. So it worked. This vignette worked. And the vignettes they've been doing have been working, because Marcus8915 says, I really thought he was going to pull out weed in that bag. We all thought it. Because that's what they want you to think. So it works. It's been working because they've been doing this now for weeks. Oh, God. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson who says, share the story. Also, MSK and Riddle doing a podcast together might get interesting. All right, I'll share the story because Cadillac Carson sent in a super chat. But I'm going to have to I'm going to have to not give the full details of this. Like, I'm not going to say people's names or anything like that. Okay, so weed is legal here in California, okay? A lot of people here do weed. A lot of my friends do weed. I do not because, well, I do not. I'd never seen weed ever in my life, other like in person. In person, I'd never seen weed in person. And somebody at the event was telling me like, oh yeah, we get a bunch of weed, like people are constantly giving it to us. And like showed it to me, right? And I was so embarrassed because I said the stupidest thing ever of my life. And I literally looked at this person and I said, oh wow, I've never seen weed before in person. And they kind of looked at me like, what the frick? How have you never seen weed in person? And I felt so stupid, like so stupid. Like I felt like I had freaking jumped out of the goddamn Disney Channel into like an alternate universe. And I thought to myself, why did I reveal that information? Why did I say that out loud? Like I should not have said that out loud at all. And so it was 2021, the year Denise finally saw weed in person. It's humiliating. I know. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in this super chat. You guys can all laugh at my expense now. Rev 408 says Oni psychedelics for Denise. God. Hal Mitchell says, oh boy, what a start. I know. Michael Jefferson says, I'm surprised you don't smoke weed. You watch Raw and NXT every week. I know. I don't know what to say. Moving on. Let's see if I can put myself back together after this big reveal. Anyways, let's jump into something that I really enjoyed from NXT, and that was the in-ring debut of Harland, ladies and gentlemen. Harland has officially debuted into NXT. This was interesting, okay? I didn't really truly know this was I didn't know if this was going to be like a big splat, a dud, a failure. I didn't know if it was going to be that or if it was going to be like, "Oh my god, this was so impressive." You could go either direction. I didn't know which direction we were going to go in here. And so Harland comes out and Joe Gacy's like giving him he does this like creepy smile. Like he does a smile like this. It's really weird. But he does this like smile and he's like giving words of encouragement to Harland and he touches him and it's very uncomfortable. And you're just like, where are they going with this? Should I close my eyes? Like what's going on here? Anyway, so he gives him words of encouragement. Harland wrestles Guru Raj, and basically, this is a match. He literally smashes his head, smashes it like he's trying to crack it open. And then he starts like putting his elbow, like rubbing it on his face, like he's just like scraping something off with his elbow. He holds him up like by the hair, like he's a freaking yo-yo, knees him, like sidewalk slams him, and eventually gets the win. So this is a very quick match, but I gotta say, I liked it. I liked it because even though it was very brief, and I'm not going to go out here and be like, oh my God, he did this, he did that, and it was so amazing, and this and that. But the minimal stuff that he did do, it was aggressive. He brought intensity, and he's really selling the gimmick. Like, he's really, really selling the character. And I think for me, that is what's making this work. Like, I am buying who they're telling me Harland is, or telling me he's a lunatic. He's a lunatic. He's not all mentally there. He's unstable, whatever you want to call him. That's what they are telling me. And he is selling it and it is working. So then after this, Joe Gacy basically tells him, like, are you satisfied? And Harland is like, no, I'm not satisfied. So then he goes back into the ring and he continues to smash Raj's freaking head like into the mat until eventually he stops. And so I finally get more so what Joe Gacy is doing with Harland. Joe Gacy has been this like big proponent of people being themselves and people standing up for this and that and whatever, right? So it's almost like he wants Harland to explore the dark side of him, to let it out, because that is his nature and that is who he is. So it became a little bit more clear to me that this is the intentions, at least what I think the intentions of Joe Gacy are with Harland. I could be wrong, like completely wrong here, but I feel like those are the intentions. Anyway, so after this match, like later on, we have this moment where they're walking down the stairs. Harland, Joe Gacy, I think there's like a referee there and a couple of other people, including Brian Kendrick, and they're kind of like getting in his face. They're basically like, I think they were like yelling at him about like what he did to Raj after the match. So they're walking down the stairs and the camera is like a below shot of this. And Harland gets like upset at Brian Kendrick and literally, guys, freaking throws him down the stairs and you just see him fly. And somebody brought this up. Somebody mentioned the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If you guys all remember when he like jumps out and you see like that jump, that was exactly what it was. Oh, I freaking love this. I love this so much. I think it was my favorite thing on NXT 2.0 tonight, 100%. That one little moment where he threw Brian Kendrick the hell off the top of the stairs, it was phenomenal. I was like, hell yeah, I'm here for that. Let's do more of it. I loved it. So I am now a fan of Harland. I'm a Harland fan. I'm a Harland stan. What do you guys think? Send in some thoughts, guys. We got Eliza Lives who says Harland should be Michael Myers. We got a couple of other people saying this. Martin says, I was asleep at Harland's debut. Go back and watch it. Zeno Hour says Harland brutally murdered Brian Kendrick. Frick, yeah, he did. Tony says, there goes flying Brian Kendrick. Matt Hensley says, the throw just broke me and made me laugh for like 5 minutes. And going, like, I posted the GIF. The GIF is on my Twitter account. And the more you watch it, the more hilarious that it gets. Like, go back and watch that. It's hilarious. It's even funnier. Like, they need to play that in slow motion. They really, really do. And Irvin Pena Guzman says, reminded me of when Brock threw Zach down the stairs from back in the day. I love shit like that. I really, really do. Eliza Liv says, Harland is going to be a killer. I dig it. I would like to see more from him before having a better judgment. Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm not going to go out here and be like, oh yeah, Harland's my favorite wrestler. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But from what they did tonight, I thought that it's working and they are building the character, which I appreciate. So yeah, I would say based off what we saw today, 2 thumbs up on Harland. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this progresses. Cora Jade versus Dakota Kai. Let's see. What is there to say about this? Well, first and foremost, I didn't realize that you were allowed to say the word simp on the broadcasting thing. You could say simp. I don't know. I just kind of thought it was one of those words that you just don't say in broadcasting. I don't know. But they were saying simp tonight. They probably said it before, but today was the day that I noticed. But Wade Barrett, Vic is calling Wade a simp. Mandy Rose is sitting there doing commentary with them. Mandy Rose is like, okay on commentary. She had one really funny line where she said that, like, when Cora Jade came out with a skateboard, she's like, quote, she comes out with a skateboard. This is not a park. I laughed. I giggled. This match was not OMG. Like, it was not great, but I did not like it. Like, it was okay. What I do want to point out here is that Dakota Kai, she has just shown so much versatility. Dude, it is insane. Like, I cannot understand, and I know I've said this a million times, but how is Dakota Kai not on the main roster? It is appalling to me. That girl is so versatile with everything she does. She's been showing so many different sides of her personality, so many different characters that she can pull out. Her growth in the ring has been like night and day. She has a good look. She has personality. She's a good promo. I don't know how she's not on the main roster. It's baffling to me. I don't get it. Okay, so Dakota Kai brings out a shovel during this match. This is the same shovel that she hit Raquel Gonzalez with and essentially helped her lose her title and helped Mandy Rose essentially get the win when they had their match. And so she brings the shovel out. The referee, pulls it away from her, and Cora Jade uses this distraction, while Dakota Kai is tied up with the referee to get the win. She rolls her up, gets the win. I did not like the finish to this match. I did not like it because I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, like, Cora, she's been getting lucky. She just takes any opportunity and she gets the win. Cool. But it kind of felt like last night when we saw Queen Zelina essentially pin Rhea Ripley, we all knew that it really wasn't that believable in the way that was executed. I kind of felt the exact same way with this match here, where like Dakota Kai has been through hell and back. She's been in some amazing matches. I cannot buy her losing in the way that she did. I cannot buy that. It's not, we know it's not possible. Like, she's not going to lose that way. So for me, I couldn't buy this finish. And I like Cora Jade. I love what they're doing with Cora Jade, but I just could not buy this actual finish. So afterwards, we saw Dakota Kai is going to go to the attack. She's going to attack Cora Jade with the shovel post-match. Raquel comes out, attacks Dakota Kai, and Raquel, we essentially find out that we're going to get Raquel versus Dakota Kai next week in a street fight. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a fun match. Hopefully, Dakota Kai doesn't lose by getting rolled up, because apparently that is another devastating maneuver. All right. Also they reported, Vic Joseph reported that Cora Jade has re-injured her shoulder. So that's the update on that. And let's get some thoughts here. This one is from J-Rock Dog, who says, I think they are keeping Dakota Kai back the same reason as why they held Bayley back. They are not confident in the women's roster if they pull her up with her level of experience. I get all that, but like, that's my thing where I'm like, dude, you're just going to like have her be waiting there until it's eventually her turn to come up. I don't like that. Like, there's so many different options, so many different matches she could be having on the main roster with whatever brand that she's on, honestly, with whatever brand. Dom G says, but Cora Jade has the power of newest, which makes most finishers inept. Kind of like Carson says, Cora getting lucky wins doesn't build her in a strong baby face. No, like Cora Jade's getting built up because she's likable. Like, she's genuinely likable. So that's why she's coming across as a good baby face, because she just has that natural likability. But the win just like this isn't going to do much. It really, really isn't going to do much. Marcus8915 says, it's crazy how good Dakota Kai is and she's never had a women's title run. Right? Like, how the hell not? How the hell not? All right, here we go. Before I move on to the rest of the show, friendly reminder, guys, I will be back tomorrow to chat AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming. We got a big match, Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson. That is going to be nuts. We got so much other stuff that's going to go down on the show. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. My AEW Dynamite post show is my most popular show of the week. A lot of really good fun. We don't know what's going to happen. Is Hangman Page going to still be AEW World Champion by the end of tomorrow night? We'll find out. So make sure you guys tune in for that. That'll be a good time. And then this Friday, I will be at GCW, so I will not be here on Friday. However, good news to everybody, I will be here on Saturday. So I'm going to be doing a special stream on Saturday. I'm basically going to be doing a Best of Wrestling 2021 stream. I'm literally going to come on and I'm going to talk about some of the most improved wrestlers, the best matches, the top stories of the year, things that happen in wrestling, like in all different facets, best wrestlers, best women's wrestlers, best this, best that, over the year, and things that I thought were really great. And I want to make sure that you guys tune in, because I'm going to be very curious to get all of your guys' opinion. And I kind of wanted to just be I don't want to say like a summary of the year, but like an overall analysis of some of the stuff that happened in the year and who were some of the people that, benefited the most during this year, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure to come in on Saturday. I'm going to be doing that, and that is going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check your local time zones and figure out what time that is for you, because I'm bad at math and I cannot do that for you as of this moment. I will look afterwards and then I will promote it on Twitter. But that's already scheduled on this YouTube channel. All you have to do is go set your reminder. It's up there. So 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, a Best of Wrestling in 2021 podcast. So that's going to be hopefully really fun, and hopefully lots of you guys will come in and kind of just hang out and kind of look back at the year. So we'll see how that all goes down. All right, guys, so let's go into this. We got all right, so we've been talking about Grayson Waller a lot tonight, and another really good moment was we finally saw Tiffany Stratton. So they've been promoting Tiffany. We've been seeing the daddy's little girl, blah, blah, blah. They didn't show her face on NXT, but she comes up and she's like, my daddy says, I forgot what her daddy said. Her daddy said something, and she basically talks smack to Grayson Waller for one line. But then Io Shirai comes out, and Io Shirai goes off, man. This woman goes off. She just starts talking all of this dirt on Grayson Waller. But this is why it was great, because you literally see Io Shirai going off, and Grayson Waller is such a jerk. He literally sits there and he's like, like all this little lady's talking. He was being such a douche. He sits there and he's like mocking her as she's expressing herself and expressing her anger, and he's looking at her like he's not taking her seriously and she's a joke. Oh, it was great heel work. Oh, I loved it. Like somebody tweeted me that they could have watched this the rest of the night, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I probably could have too. It was very enjoyable. I think it went for like a good amount of time where she was just telling him off. So it was really awesome stuff. We got the Zeno Hour who says Io yelling at Grayson was great. It was great. Also, thank you so much to Devin who already set the reminder on that Saturday show. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Let's see. After this, we had Andre Chase versus Tony. I was going to say Tony D'Angelo. And nothing much to say here, guys. This was like an match. Tony D'Angelo wins. It was a good win. I couldn't get into this match. This was very generic. The Andre Chase character is not working for me. Anyways, post-match stuff. Let's talk about the post-match stuff, because I actually like the post-match stuff. So we see a confrontation between Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo. Pete Dunne's pissed. He wants his mouthpiece back. Tony D'Angelo's been carrying that around in a freaking glass box. Pete Dunne literally breaks his fingers. That was great. We're most likely going to be seeing Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo. I'm looking forward to that. I think Pete Dunne is the perfect opponent for Tony D'Angelo, because Tony is like this, he's like this badass, guy from the streets, whatever, plays dirty, isn't necessarily the greatest example. So you put him in the ring with somebody else who's badass in a different way, like badass like Pete Dunne. So you have two of these guys who are very different people, but at the same time are like very tough in their own right. So I feel like putting him in a program with Pete Dunne was definitely the right call to make. So I'm interested in that. We got a super chat from Heidi Ho 77 who says, I just want to see Tony D and Santos have a Mafia versus Cartel story, please. I would not hate that. That would be interesting, to say the least. Very, very interesting. I'm pretty sure they've thought about that. I would hope I hadn't thought about that. So I don't know if they thought about that, but we'll see. Thank you so much for sending in this super chat. All right. Let's get into Idris Enofe versus Boa. Idris has been impressive. He had that impressive match with Solo Sikoa. I put him over when we talked about that match. Good stuff, man, from Idris. But Idris Enofe versus Boa, it's interesting because they had Boa win after he did like a spinning heel kick on Idris. But I have to say, like, I cannot buy Boa as a, like, it's hard for me to take Boa seriously. And the reason for that is when you spent such a long period of time having Boa come out and do nothing and just be at ringside, and then all of a sudden we have to take him seriously, and we have to take him seriously beating guys like Idris Enofe. Like, I can't buy it. I just cannot buy it. And I think given what we saw from Idris in that match with Solo Sikoa, and given his look, given the athleticism that we've seen thus far by him, I just feel like there's more upside to him than Boa. And I like what they like Boa. Like, I just wish they would have shown Boa in a different light right from the beginning, because they have to kind of undo everything that I remember of Boa. Like, to me, Boa was just a guy that would come out and stand in ringside by Xia Li. He was just like kind of like the forgotten, like he was kind of like her shadow. He didn't really do anything. He didn't really bring anything to the table. So now I have to kind of erase that from my memory and say, no, now Boa is this badass, killer in the ring. I can't see it that way. I just can't. So it's taken me a while. It's going to take me a little bit longer to see him in a different light. So maybe by him beating Idris, I guess that's one step towards that. I'm just not buying it right now. I just feel like there's way more upside with pushing somebody like Idris. I just think that if they were to have Idris, pick up some wins and have him do more stuff like, beating Boa, it would be more beneficial to see Idris defeat Boa than Boa defeating Idris. That's what I'm trying to say. Jesus. Let's see what we got here. Someone believes that Solo is going to be the next NXT champion. He's been okay so far. I wouldn't put him at NXT championship material just yet. I don't think he's that level just yet. Mayhem says, Denise, didn't Boa get possessed? Damn, I don't even remember, man. That was like a storyline that I did not pay attention to. God, I'm terrible. All right. Dedman says the one match he had under Xia Li's tutelage was against Zion Quinn, and he lost. I don't even remember that. Jesus. Cadillac Carson says if Boa had a submission called the Boa Constrictor, I might be more interested. That would be funny. All right. All right. I mentioned Raquel challenges Dakota in a street fight. We get Jacket Time versus Grizzled Young Veterans. There's a moment during this match where Wade Barrett literally says, when are we going to get Jacket Off time? Yeah, that happened. And literally, Vic Joseph, I don't know if it was done on purpose, but Vic Joseph was like, what? And I was listening. I think every person that caught that one line was like, what? Like, I didn't know if he was trying to say the other thing that sounds like Jacket Off. But then he fixed it and he was like, no, I meant like jacket off, like the actual jacket coming off. And there was like this really weird moment where like even Wade Barrett was kind of like, oh shit, like I gotta get like back into my zone. Like, dude, you like kind of threw me off here. But he threw me off when he said jacket off. I was like, where are we going with this? Like, I know this is the hip, edgy NXT 2.0, but where are we going with this? Yeah, Matt Hensley says Wade is my favorite person ever for that. Look, I don't think he did it on purpose though. And if he did, damn, he sold that very well. I don't think he did it on purpose. I legitimately think like he like said it and didn't realize how it was going to sound. If he meant it like on purpose, then dude, kudos to him because he sold that very well. And even Vic Joseph sold that very well. Like if that was planned, damn, that was good because it even got me. It legitimately even got me. Coach 97 is like jacket off time. What? Yeah, go back and listen to that because I can't say it the way that he said it. If you hear it, it sounds like, yeah, the other thing. You gotta go and listen to that. Really. NXT pushing those boundaries for reals. Man. All right. The match itself, guys. Nice. We got some nice teamwork from Jacket Time. What do you expect? These are both, especially Kushida, such a great worker. We had some nice like tope stuff. We saw, it was honestly a nice little win over the Grizzled Young Veterans. But other than that, there really isn't that much to say, even because the win was caused, Creed Brothers came out and essentially distracted the Grizzled Young Veterans, which ended up being the reason why Jacket Time ended up getting the win. And so they were basically saying that this was like a huge upset and this and that. I'm like, is it though, really? Like, is it a huge upset? Like, because Shida's a former champion. Is it really an upset? He was literally having matches with Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, and like literally anybody that meant anything in NXT, the black and gold brand. Is it really an upset? All right. Main event time, Roderick Strong versus Bron Breakker. This was a fun main event. This was definitely my favorite match of the night. A lot of really good stuff in this. A phenomenal win for Bron Breakker. Dude, Bron Breakker is just like, he's good stuff, man. Lots of great takedowns by Bron Breakker to Roderick Strong. Good stuff there. Love the running shoulder tackle. Frick, he's like, man, he's just like runs into that. Like, you know, he ran into freaking Roderick Strong like a goddamn bull. The Frankensteiner, phenomenal. Also beautiful when he does it. Love the elbows from Roderick Strong. He just kept going back and forth, like hitting him with a bunch of elbows. That looked really great too. Loved all the strikes from Roderick Strong. This was like the best we've seen from Roderick Strong in a bit, man. In a bit. I love this match. Bron Breakker ends up winning. Was good stuff. Post-match, we see Tommaso Ciampa come out. Ciampa comes down. He basically says, at War Game, you won the battle, but this is the way. And he points at his, but he says, this is a war, not the way. He says, this is a war. And he points at the championship belt and he basically welcomes him back to the deep end. So we know we're going to get, we already knew we were going to get Ciampa Breakker again, but now we officially know we're getting Breakker Tommaso Ciampa once again. So we still don't know when that's actually happening, but it was teased. He gives him the good old kiss on the cheek, and that is how we close out NXT. We're getting a super chat from Heidi Ho 77. It says, I will call them Jacket Time from now on. My goodness. Jacket time. Jacket off. Alrighty, that's a terrible, terrible thing. Alrighty. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Come back tomorrow. AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming. So make sure you guys tune into that. Other than that, please do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online. If you're already here on the channel, click that subscribe button. We are making our way to 100K. I believe we're at 80,600. So we are getting closer and closer to that 100K mark. Additionally, if you haven't already, head on over to my Twitter account. I am about, I think, 3,800 followers away from hitting 50,000. I have been trying to hit 50,000. That is my goal for 2022. I got 18 days left. 18 days left by January 1st, by the end of January. Actually, I wanted it December 31st, excuse me. Like literally midnight hits, new year. I want to be sitting at 50K. So I don't think that's going to happen. But if you haven't followed me, go over there, click that follow button. On top of that, if you haven't gone to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, check out that interview with Mickie James. And other than that, that's the show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.